A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 131.
Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms.
Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran, and today's topic, room to breathe. People, I know that change is difficult, and what are you going to do about it? I mean, life is hard. As it says in the opening of the podcast, life is challenging and difficult. So you're going to get kicked in the ass sometimes, and that's what this podcast is all about. So, life is difficult. Maybe you're thinking about giving up. I've thought about giving up. I mean, look at the sporadic nature of how I release the podcast now. You know, my life is pretty busy right now. I've talked about trying to find a new job. I'm still doing that. I am raising my children. You know, I'm taking care of the house. I'm working a lot. You know, there's a lot going on. And gee, you know, I wish my life was easier, but it's not. And I know that all the effort that I put in is going to be worth it. But when life gets very difficult, and I think about when Tommy was dying, and when I found meditation, I really was pushed to the limit, and I thought a lot about giving up, about just walking away, just completely changing my life. And you know, these are questions that, maybe they're serious, maybe they're not so serious. No one really knows, but they're just thoughts. You don't have to put any weight on them if you don't want to. And you know, just because you give up the fight on something and let something go doesn't mean that you've lost the war. It just means that you've walked away. You've lost that battle. It's not complete surrender. In fact, sometimes it's good to kind of back down and regroup. And that way you're better prepared for the fight. I think that's what I've done through my meditation. I've been able to actually sit down and through focused breathing learn how to surrender myself to things that I can't change anymore. And that's what I guess this podcast is about today. Giving yourself room to breathe. When you're under stress, when you're under pressure, it can seem like the world is closing in on you. It can seem like the world is against you. It's not. It really isn't. A lot of it is how you are taking in and how you're responding to just normal everyday things that are going on in your life. What I find is that by sitting down and simply breathing in and out, I've given myself room to breathe. I've given myself a moment of time to recognize the space that exists around me. It's given me the time to recognize that all the problems that I have, they're only problems if I make them problems. And when I sit and I meditate, the problems are put at bay. I'm not thinking about those problems. And I'm open to that, and I've created an openness within myself. Sounds a bit hippy-dippy, but so what? It's given me sometimes what I find is that I was pushing so hard and pushing myself so hard that something had to give. And when it finally gave, it forced me to sit down and recognize really what was truly important to me, and to hold on tight and strengthen what was important to me. That's really what's important in anybody's life. What's important to you? What are you not willing to give up? What are you just so adamant about that nothing will ever change your mind? That's a part of you that I think you should just embrace, generally speaking, or at least think about, why you hold it so dear. And if you're not willing to embrace it, why are you not willing to embrace it? And I guess what I'm trying to get at is you want to be able to let things go. I had to be able to let things go. I like to control my life, but not everything is within my control, nor should it be. So the way we view our life creates expectations, and a lot of how I view the world has changed now. My expectations have changed. And I think I'm better able to take on the challenges that I feel are important, because I'm not spread so thin and wasting my time on things that are no longer or not really important to me. So I let things go. So you can say, oh, you stopped, you gave up the fight on that. Yeah, I did. And how's my life affected by it? I think we need to think about the fights that we take on. Some of them are absolutely worth it. Some are not. And that decision is yours, my friend. And we will make mistakes. We'll make good choices and bad. It's all part of the learning process. So my suggestion is take a deep breath. Just breathe in, and then I couldn't help myself, but I had to breathe out. And when you breathe out, you can feel like a release. That is doing something. Just releasing that in your breath. That is right here, right now. That is you taking action. Open yourself up so that the change is coming to you rather than you going after and pursuing the change. I think that's something else I've really learned outside of accepting what it is. Some things I cannot change, and I've given up trying to change that. And it's not so easy doing that, really. Recognizing, even when you recognize that some things are out of your control, hey, let's just face it, some things happen. Other people do things, so that's outside of our control, what other people do, and it may irk you. But instead of taking it personally, recognize that they have their own perspective of the world. They're just trying to do what they need to do. So don't take it personally. Don't let it weigh on you. Let the things that are important to you weigh on you and drive you towards making better decisions that lead you to what you're ultimately after. So by letting go of things, you're actually gathering a better grip on what you have. And I think you'll see that some of the things that you have, you've been turning a blind eye to and not really recognizing the full value. But when you start to recognize the full value of it, things will start to change. When you start to become open and stop resisting change, a whole new world will open. Yes, there'll be some pain involved, but what I have found is that pain really is the resistance to change, where change must occur. So once you stop resisting the change and just let it go, embrace the suck, surrender to it, recognize, hey, there's nothing you can do, my hands are tied. Focus on something that you can do. It's amazing. We only have so much energy, and we create our own problems, really. We recognize things in our life as problems. We give them life in this way. So things aren't really our problems until we recognize them as such and acknowledge them. And ultimately, I think in many ways, this is a choice in many regards, not in all. We don't always have a choice in the problems that are handed to us and the problems that we see in our life. And that there I think lies an art and a science of determining, where that responsibility lies. And do you need to spend time thinking about it, or do you just have to accept that, hey, you know what, this is my problem. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to make changes where I can make changes, and that are my changes to make, and let go of the rest. I think in doing that, you'll find that you're taking back your power. The one example that I really think will ring close to you, to a lot of people at least, is at work. So almost every job that I've gotten, every job that I've ever gotten, I had to first fill out an application. I had to go through the interview process. I had to beat the competition out and be the best person for the job as determined by the hiring manager. As far as promotions are concerned, the same. No one's just given me a promotion and said, oh, you've been doing such a great job, we're giving you a promotion. That's never happened in my 22 years. I don't think I've ever heard of that actually really happening. People seek out promotions. People seek out different jobs. So it's not the organization holding you back. It's you holding yourself back by not taking that first step and filling out the application for jobs that you think you might be interested in if you are looking to change your job. We often want to change our jobs because we think we're not making enough money. We want to make more money. That's going to solve all of our problems. But truth of the matter is this doesn't solve all your problems. Money is not the answer for everything. Money is not everything, but it is certainly part of the equation, and we do need to factor it in to the choices that we make. But money's not going to solve all of our problems, but certainly does not hurt. And money is very important, and I know that's why I work. And putting a price on your time and showing your value in what you're paid, that also has its rewards that are not monetary, but just makes you feel good when you're able to contribute, and then you see a paycheck that makes you able to go out and live your life. And not having enough money, it really boils down to a simple equation. That's how much money you have coming in minus how much money you have going out. But we all know that the reality is quite different, and it's much more difficult in reality. But it is part of the choices that we make on a day-to-day basis. And it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I kick myself in the ass to try to stay on a good financial path, not only for myself but for my family. I find that money does create opportunity. It creates an opportunity to it provides more choices, I guess, is what I should say. The more money you have, the more choices you generally have. And my quote, I think I'm going to wrap this up, but the quote that I want to tell you today and share is actually my own words. And that is to kick yourself in the ass before life does it for you. Because I think that if we pay attention to our life and we recognize what we can and cannot change, and then we act accordingly, we might need to motivate ourselves in a direction that is going to make us feel uneasy. It's going to make us feel less confident because it's a road we've never been on. It's scary, but it's also so thrilling at the same time and so rewarding, because life is over before you know it. You don't want to go, end your life with the regrets and of not doing things. I miss my friend Tom so much, and he gives me, even though he's not here anymore, he motivates me still to live life because he can't. I'm happy to report that his wife just got a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and Jen is amazing. She's an amazing woman, and Tommy always talked about her, and he introduced her to jiu-jitsu, and he always thought how awesome she was and how she was going to make it all the way. I don't know if he really... I knew he knew she was going to make it there before him. But also I wonder if he even doubted his own ability to make it that far in the sport. But he knew that Jen had it, and she made it. And so kudos to Jen Stewart. Congratulations on your belt. The family, Tom's family, is doing well. Of course, they still miss him. It's been a challenging couple of years, but we keep going. And, we can't help when we lose people in our life. Holding on to that is going to cause you a lot of pain. When you're gone, and you have to continue living, and you have to make different choices, because your circumstances are different. This is part of life, is adapting to change. And those of us who can adapt, we will not only survive, we will thrive. So I'm going to end it here, but give yourself some room to grow. And I found that I made some room for myself to grow through meditation. Please visit my website at meditationrat.com. If you're interested in meditation, I'm kind of building it out, and I'm going to try to teach people about meditative practices. We also have the Swift Kick in the Ass website. That's still going. Let me know if you have any topics you'd like me to discuss. Let me know what's going on in your life. Just reach out to me through the website. Until the next time, this is your host, John Curran. This is your podcast, A Swift Kick in the Ass. Until the next time, peace.
Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms.